Welcome back to the channel, Hobby One Kenobi here. Well, I'm continuing work on the Kinetic 1/48 scale Mirage 2000C. In this video, I will show you a lot of the main construction of the kit, and at the end of this video, show you the work I completed on the ejection seat and on the final paint scheme. So stick around. Here we are gluing the wing halves together with Tamiya Extra Thin. Once these pieces dried, I was ready to attach the wing assembly to the halves of the fuselage. As I connected the pieces together for a dry fit, I found immediately that I would be dealing with gaps at the wing roots. At first, I had attempted to fill these gaps by adding a shim to one side. The idea was to fuse plastic sheet to one side, then fill in the space between that side and the plastic piece. Then glue the wings to the fuselage, but try to leave a seam. Adding the shim was easy, but dry fitting all of the pieces again revealed that the seams were just too numerous and exacting to be completed this way. Instead, I decided to glue the wings and fill the gaps with CA glue, then later on rescribe the seams. The gaps were filled with thin CA glue and a glue looper. Glue loopers are amazing. They allow you to place a drop of glue practically anywhere, but especially inside a seam. Capillary action allows the drop to run along the inside of the seam. The whole process is accelerated with, well, super glue accelerator. Shims were needed at various points of the fuselage and wings, either to fill gaps or cover ghastly fitting pieces. I have to say I am surprised by the number of poorly fitting pieces in this kit. I understand that these kinetic kits can be a hit or miss when it comes to fit and detail. This one has unfortunately turned out to be a miss. I removed pin marks found on the inside of the intakes. I also filled in the holes for the attachment points to the small fins that reside near the intake cowlings. I didn't want these to be seen from the inside of the intake. Near the front of the port side intake is a glass window, which should have a chromate green back. I replicated this by adding sheet plastic. Next, it was time to start scribing. I used a thin piece of metal as a straight edge. This was taped into the proper location, and the Tamiya scriber was used to carefully create the seams. Since I needed to start the seam work on the intakes, I decided to paint their interior. Dry fitting the intakes showed a large seam that I again decided to fill with CA and rescribe. Next, I decided to scratch build details for the walls of the wheel wells. This detail included ribbing and various wires. I used styrene, solder wire, and Tamiya tape to depict the details. I kept this detail on the lighter side, just trying to fill a bit more of the empty spaces. Rings were added to the main wheel's struts. The plan is to send wiring through them. Vallejo plastic putty was used to fill seams all over the aircraft. Sanding may work with this product. I haven't had much luck, but I do like to fill this product into the seam, then simply wipe the excess away with a moistened Q-tip. The detail under the windshield just forward of the control panel needed to be scraped away so I could properly fill a seam. A strip of plastic was used to cover up the area. The base of the heads-up display was mounted, then thin strips of plastic were used to bring back the detail. Now it's time to paint up details on the ejection seat. I started with painting the headrest NATO black. A tan color was used to color the seat cushions. Silver and black paint was used to create variation in the details at the rear of the seat. Quinta 3D decals were used in the cockpit, and now I apply the rest on the ejection seat. I find that 3D decals have a tendency to bloat if left in too much water for too long. Rather than dropping them in water like water slide decals, I like to apply drops of water to the backing paper. This is often all that is needed to remove 3D decals from the backing paper. Finally, here is the model in its latest state. It has received a coat of primer, the base color is a light gray, and the blue-gray was used for the camo pattern. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!